Hi, it's Mark Owen from Moose, Marketing and PR, the editor of Punchline magazine. Today I'm joined by Simon Llewellyn, cameraman from ITN and Good Morning Britain. Good morning, Simon. Thanks for joining Punchline.
You're very welcome.
Simon, you were here back in '92 for the original Fred West case when they were digging up the garden. Can you tell me a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, I had a call from my correspondent at the time. I was based at home, and he said, can you get up to Gloucester? There's talk of a body that may have been found in a back garden. And I thought, quintessential English countryside murder. So I came up here and we saw police at Cromwell Street, I think it's called, and parked the car, got me gear, walked along, was expecting to find some police tape. Nothing. Found the house, and it was one of these back alley type things. I turned right and I saw a bunch of policemen with crowbars and their boiler suits on, lifting up patio slabs. So I was thinking, are they building the thing, or it was so low key. So I set up the tripod and they said, oh, that's, hi guys, just keep out of the way. And there was one other cameraman, two cameramen that in the start just went huge eventually. And as the day went by, they started moving us back, and that generally meant that it was getting a bit more serious. And I think they were turning stuff up, pushed us back further, pushed us back, eventually pushed us out of the property into the street, and then blocked off the whole street. And then we filmed it from a next door place, built up a gantry and looked down on it, and spent the next, felt like half a year, looking down into the tiny little gazebo tents, and they gradually closed the whole thing off. It became more and more covert and sort of secret, and you could see that they were finding things. There was stuff there that was starting to be really unpleasant. I mean, as the sort of history now shows us, the body count started to grow exponentially.
I mean, the story got bigger and bigger. I mean, how many cameramen were there at the end, and film studios, not studios, but
film companies.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets big when you start seeing foreign TV there and American TV, and it was absolutely everywhere you went. Everyone knew about it. The usual stuff happened. Onlookers came in, and so there would regularly be maybe 60, 70 people there, just crowding around a 16-foot back garden, and then the front as well, because obviously they then moved indoors, and then it all of a sudden they thought, wow, this is bigger than big. And then it moved into the countryside. It also moved across the road to some other houses, so they were starting to find out where Fred West had worked, and they would start digging there. And then it was thinking, where's this guy not buried? How many people are you talking about? And then the backstory started coming out about the policewoman who was the only one who seemed to have been listening to the children. And then it became really personal. The kids, they were talking to people. They were desperately crying out for someone to pay attention to this. It just seemed as though the police force had been asleep for 20 years, because this had been going on for so long.
Now, you saw Fred West at the case, you said,
yeah.
And you
I saw him a couple of times actually, because one of the remits of our job is to get pictures for TV. And so one time we were standing on the wall of the jail. He was being held in custody, and I remember seeing him come out under a blanket. I always wondered why they afforded people like that privacy. And then we followed it up in when it was going on in court. And I remember seeing Fred West come up from in the cells, and as he walked past his wife Rose, and I always remember because he reached out to her, and she recoiled, and it was literally in that instant you realise that they were up. She was up against him. She was desperate to divorce herself from any of the history, and obviously it goes on to prove why she was as culpable as he was. House of Evil and all those cliches that they were talking. I mean, it's not usual that you destroy somewhere like that. Normally the house is rejuvenated, maybe given a new name or something, but a couple of years later it was gone.
And was he a big guy, Fred West?
No, he was a kind of a sort of a gorilla of a bloke, sort of not short, maybe sort of that high, but he had really big features, sort of big face, big hands, sort of curly hair, thick-lipped. You know, he was a sort of fairly primal-looking guy. He looked as though he'd be immensely strong. He was a builder, so you know he probably was, but he looked as though he'd have that sort of low centre of gravity power. Not someone I'd want to tangle with for sure.
Simon, thanks ever so much for
You're
joining
very
us
welcome.
Punchline
Hope
today.
you could use it.